And welcome back to ScavTalk, everyone. In today's episode, we got a fantastic lineup for you. We're going to be starting off with the biggest news topic, the ammo / armor removals that BSG just like out of nowhere dropped on us. Followed by EOD advantage. Is it true? Actually confirmed by GigaBeef? ?
Oh my god.
Then finally, we're going to be wrapping it up with a couple small topics. One being some of the community drama, I guess you could say, that went on for a little bit. I think it's been resolved, but we'll get into that. And then finally, an audio bug V2. So, Giga, how's it been going for you? What level are you at? Give me a quick, brief update where you're at with your progression.
Been going good. I would say progression has been steady. I've nowhere near been grinding as much. I've gone back to like usual service has resumed at home kind of thing because the wife was just like collapsing under the weight of just dealing with everything. So I kind of gone back to normal. I'm not doing like as much streaming, and one of the days I got disrupted, so I couldn't play or whatever. But so I'm level 28. So I haven't like moved up that much, but we're doing okay, honestly. Like the levels start to plateau out after about, I can't remember what I was last week, but they really start to extend out, and you don't have that many quests. And well, you've got a lot of quests, but they take longer to do, so you can't complete as many in the same time, even though they do give good XP. So it's been going all right though. We've just finished Punisher Part 4. I've been trying to combine different quests together, so that's been going pretty well. So yeah, I've nearly finished it. I just need to get the shotgun kills, you see. So I've done the PMCs bit. I've done the hard part. Now I just need to go and 12 gauge some 12 gauge some scavs. But like been tinkering around, doing some of those annoying shoreline quests. You have to go and buy keys off the Flea because obviously you don't have them yourself, and you have to go and do vitamins and get the thing and go to the woods and get the motor controllers and all of those things. I'm sort of like into the thick of that. I've not played any more streets at all really because the performance just like it's just desyncy, rubber bandy, and I just kind of don't really want to. Maybe I'll go back to it this week because there are some quests that I want to finish on there, and I do want to get more comfortable with that map. But I've not really been back. I've just been doing kind of the usual stuff. But I've been focusing very much on keeping. It's like before I was kind of little bit of usual IRL admin, a lot of streaming, a lot of YouTube, and then now basically like the IRL admin is like crept back into the schedule. The streaming has like been compressed, and the YouTube has stayed steady. You know what I mean? So like I got to keep that going, which I think's been going pretty well so far. So I had some good vids that have done really well recently, like better than I thought they were going to. So yeah, it's been going well both from the game side and from kind of the the YouTube creation side at the same time. What about you? What level are you?
I just hit 23. We got Peacekeeper unlocked because I hit 23, but I didn't realize I had the rep requirement, so we got Peacekeeper 3, and so that's cool. Still don't have the gem, man. Still need a hammer. I think it's absolutely just a tip for everyone. Just bring in a backpack, man. A burqa, a scav bag, a day pack, because if you find a hammer and you can't fit it in, you don't want to be level 23 and still have the debuffs from the leaky wall and the hideout. Okay, I didn't bring a backpack one raid. It's like I'll just run in and do this quick thing, and there was a hammer lying around. The first one I've seen all wipe. So, and I tried to find a backpack. Finally got one of some. It was a complete disaster. We ended up dying to a sniper scav, but anywho. Otherwise,
what's the XP debuff? Is it still like?
I think it's like 3%.
Is it only 3?
Once you mop it
all the time.
I don't see. I think it's actually bugged. It looks like you can remop it, but you don't. I don't think it actually does anything. I'm not sure. I haven't actually done it. Someone's saying it goes up. I'll have to look, but anyways, it's just a minor annoyance, but it's still kind of like why?
That's saying you might actually be able to buy it on the Flea now. I don't know if that's
true. We
could
check.
That would be different if that is. Yeah, you can. It is currently 92k.
Okay, that's man. I would love to have seen that change log.
That is news to me. I did not know that either, and I've been trying to keep on top of all this stuff.
Yeah,
that is quite interesting.
All right. Well, so I know what I'm doing.
Straight after this or during this.
Yep. So yeah, that's the brief summary, I guess. Pretty much it for me.
Okay. That's pretty good. Well, yeah, I mean, dude, this week has been nutty. Some
It
changes.
has.
It's been really, really bonkers. I mean, I didn't even know. I guess we'll start with the removals of ammo,
Yeah.
I presume, because that is probably the biggest thing. So there's quite a lot of stuff that is now gone. So I mean, 762 BP gone from Prapor. That's probably the biggest thing I would say out of all of it. I mean, they didn't touch BP for such a long time. It was on Prapor 3. Yes, you still had to do Grenadier, but it was on Prapor 3. Like they didn't even move it to Prapor 4 before then. But now it's gone completely. It's not on the traders whatsoever. So now the only ways that you can get it is find it in raid on rogues, raiders, boss guards, whatever. Find it in stashes and stuff, I suppose, in theory. Although that's so unreliable, it's not really worth even mentioning. And doing the craft.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the same for a lot of these. So BP is gone, M61 is gone, M995 is gone, PS12 Beef, the Ash 12 is gone. They removed 55A1 from Skier. So you can still buy 55A1, but you have to buy it at the expensive price from Peacekeeper. You can't buy for like 500 rubles from Skier anymore.
Which was like kind of what made it good, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you just wait, and like you'd only get, was it 90 from Skier? Like it wasn't much.
It wasn't much. I think it was
But
90.
Every reset you just be
Right.
like 90, 90, 90, 90, 90,
Yep.
90. And anytime that you're not using 556, you're just slowly stockpiling massive amounts of 5501. So yeah, that's gone. Then they removed it, like I'm not sure about some of these other ones. Like they removed 9x21 BT. So that's like the
Right.
shrimp and the
Yeah.
SR2M submachine gun. Like the very brand new submachine gun that they brought in, right? The super niche ammo type, which is good. It's good, but what is it? 39 pen, I think, is BT for 9x21. I don't know if it's really that busted, but I mean, sure. They got rid of that. I'm pretty sure it is anyway. Yeah, 39 pen and 63 damage. So I mean, maybe it's quite good. I guess if like BT is not on there and 56A1 is not. Well, no, but they're on the traders. You can buy BT and you can buy 56A1 on the traders. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, you delete it from the fleet, fine. Maybe you can buy it from the traders still.
What,
Maybe I'm telling
BT?
lies about that. Can you buy 9x21 BT?
I don't
from
think
the traders
so.
still?
No, I think they got rid of it.
No, yeah, they did get rid of it. Yeah, I think okay. I think that's overkill because that's like not in line with like the other rounds of its similar pen, if you know what I mean. And it's super niche too. It's not even like it's a 5.45 round or a 5.56 round. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's go through all of these things beforehand. So they removed SS190 as well, which is the P90 one, which has got like 37 pen. It's not even that great. And they also removed, which I didn't realize at first, which is a bit sad. They removed my baby, which is a 300 blackout AP.
Oh, they did.
So
I thought that was still there.
I thought it was still there, but I've confirmed that one is Yon, which is sad because then it's tough for the MCX. It's a bit tough for the MCX.
Well, I mean, it was like shaping up to look like, oh, this will be the new meta. Everyone will be using MCXs. It's kind of what I was thinking, but now that you say that,
yeah, exactly, because like there's some new crafts.
Right, we should talk about that.
I don't think I've missed any of those off from what was deleted. I mean, okay, so there was some tier changes. So M80 got moved from Peacekeeper 3 to 4, and it was probably the change that made most people the most mad. And the amount got moved down to 100. M62 got moved up to Peacekeeper 4 as well, and is 50 that you can buy per reset. So it's a small amount. But on a complete tangent, by the way, did you see for like 3 hours or something, they screwed something up with the dollar pricing on the rounds? Did you see? It was so funny. Like M62 was like $54 a round or something. It was like 5,500 rubles per shot or something from it. And everyone was like, "What's happening?" And then it got reverted. It was like actually just a mistake. Oh my god! Did you see the community like literally flip out? It was crazy. Like my entire timeline was just screenshots of Peacekeeper ammo. On Twitter, it was mad. Everyone went completely mental. Okay, so but it wasn't that bad. So those things got moved up to Peacekeeper 4. And the M81 is probably the most controversial. But then a couple of new crafts got added for SS190, for 300 Blackout AP, for 9x21 BT, and one more. What's the other one? What was the other one?
APSX?
Oh, M80, M80. Obviously, it was M80.
Oh.
M80. Oh, and APSX, yeah, for the MP7. But I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if that's. I'm actually not sure if that's good. But yeah. So APSX, M80, 921BT, and SS190. So I mean it changes a lot. It changes a lot. I mean, what's like your first take? It's so hard to know where to start.
I know people have already asked me, and it's like I want to give like what I feel would be like a fair, most accurate take. I want to play for like 2 to 3 months without them like tweaking anything. Like that's what I was like saying initially. Like I just want them to like not change anything around that like affects these areas because I want to see how it plays. Like how does this affect this? How's the meta shift? Blah 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 blah. So my initial impression is that this is a good change. I mean, we've talked about this so many times, I feel like. So it's kind of like, honestly, when I saw this, I was like shocked. I was like, wow, I can't believe they did this. I was just like, I never would have thought this would have happened, in my lifetime.
I know. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is crazy.
It is actually pretty crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, some of these things are more impactful than others. Obviously, BP being removed is enormous. I don't know. It's a lot of it affects the game in so many different ways. As you say, it's very hard to know exactly what's going to happen. Like my gut instinct is that it won't really do much to the people who like play right to the top. And I said this in my vid, but I don't think it'll do that much to the mega chats. But the mega chats were going to kill you anyway. So people should stop worrying about the mega chats. Like people always talk, oh, the streamers who play 15 hours a day. Like just stop worrying about those people. Like you're just gonna like you give those people as STM and they're going to kill you. So just it doesn't really matter. The player base portion that I think it matters the most to is kind of like I think I said in the vid, like the 50 to 80th percentile of player who are like proficient and they're like the good players in the game, but they're not necessarily labs mains or anything like that. Like not really. They're not going to be necessarily like farming labs for BP or whatever. Right. And I mean, I sort of imagine very much myself as one of these kind of people who it hurts. Right? It was like I could run around at the end of last wipe with BP every single raid, no problem. Am I going to do it this way? Probably not, because it means I have to sit and craft the thing for like 15 hours. Am I going to farm labs for BP? No. But I'm now no longer going to be able to go into every raid with it. And so people are not going to be shot by me with BP anymore. And so there's a lot of other people who then are no longer going to be using BP all the time. Like I might top load it into some weapons or whatever, but I'm probably just not going to use those guns that much. Right. So I'm not going to be using like an RD, because the RD was almost like my fallback gun last wipe, because I didn't really like using it that much. But you could go because I quite like unsuppressed builds. Like people I never normally really say, but like anybody who follows my stuff and knows that I'm like actually quite a fan of unsuppressed, even as a solo, which is quite funny. But like the RD with the BMD on it, and like some whatever scope that you like, pick your poison, and a 50 rounder actually still has amazing ergo. And great handling. So you can have a huge mag full of BP and just like carve holes through people and take on squads and stuff. Like it was a great gun just to be like, I mod it a bit. Like it's got good stats anyway, and then I just stick a load of BP in it, and that's that. But like I won't be doing that anymore. And there's lots of players who are in my sort of realm, I guess, that also won't be doing that kind of thing. I think that's good. I think it's good, and it'll help the people who are from the 0 to 50th percentile not just get completely torn through by BP constantly. Like there'll probably be something else, but they can die to 6 different rounds rather than 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I saw it, as like the armor got an indirect buff in a way, because essentially the TTK got widened. Like previously, it was 1 to 4 shots, let's say, when everyone had a gazelle and everyone had I say everyone, generalizations here, but everyone had a gazelle, everyone had a gun that fired BP. BP is like a 50% roll on the first shot, second shot's like a 70% or something, 80 maybe if it's going to pan on a gazelle. It was like 3 hits, so you'd say 1 to 4 because maybe you hit them in the arm, whatever. But it's generally just like bang, 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 they're dead. Next guy, bang, 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 they're dead. Yeah. So now it should be, in theory, once we get like fast forward 3 wipes in, or sorry, 3 months in, a lot of people got some traders leveled up, got some different gear, floating around the economy and et cetera, et cetera. The TTK should still be 1 on the low end, but it could be much higher, up to like 8 or 9 or something, because there's so much less high tier ammo is scarce right now. Now, some people have said that rare ammo spawning in loot pools now. There's more rare ammo spawning in loot pools, which I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if they did at the beginning of the wipe or after changes, but like I already had, like as soon as this change hit, I went and looked. I already had like 160 rounds of M80 that I found, all found in raid. So I don't know. It's just like if that's the case, then that's another like win for me, because now you as like the casual player, right? The person that plays maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, if that even. I don't even know what the average person plays, but let's just assume something like that. You, instead of like to get BP, your original thing was like you could find it in a raid or you could get off a rogue, but the most like OP way was just to do the Grenadier quest line essentially and level up proper, because then you could get every 4 hours. You could get 120 rounds, 150 rounds per reset.
120, yeah.
And eventually you just always have BP. You always have BP, and that's gone now. So now that time sink that you got to commit is just gone. Now if you just find it in the raid, it's like, sick, I got BP, I'm gonna top load my SKS. Like, that's freaking amazing, man. I love that so much more.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I don't know about the ammo changes. I'm not sure exactly, but I've got a sprinkling of BP. I've got some M855A1. I've got 3 rounds of Lapua Magnum AP. And so I feel you, right? Like last wipe, M80 in raid was so rare that when you did get it, and normally the way I got it was you killed some raiders or something, like some rogues. Usually it was rogues, and they had like sub M80, and you have like 20 rounds of it, and you're like, dude, I could sell this for like 4,000 a round, because like there was almost none on the fleet ever, because it was so rare to find. But yes, I've been finding more, and I don't know whether it's anecdotal, but yeah, I've been, and also, well, obviously we care more now, right? Like before,
yeah, of course.
If I found 30 rounds of 5.5A1 in the stash, like who cares?
Who cares,
like,
right?
I might not even take it, right? If I've got like.
Sorry, and that's what made M80 so valuable back then, is you would find it and you would be excited, not because you found M80, but because you could sell it to the plebs that didn't have M80 unlocked. You could charge them an arm and a leg and a PMC, It was great.
Exactly. So now it's like, I found, 35 rounds of 5.5A1, and I was just like, oh, yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think this is going to be very much like the top load wipe, load meta. So it's like, you get some BP or you craft some or whatever, and you're like, right, well, I got to make this, I got to stretch this out. Like I had some conversations. I think I've had a lot of ridiculous conversations on Twitter. I had like one day in particular, which was when all of the original changes came through, and I got like so heavily distracted by Twitter because people were posting all sorts of stuff, and like I felt like I had a lot to say. Usually, like I don't always feel like I'm so enthused about a particular topic, but this one is like there's just opinions coming and hot takes coming out left, right, and center, right? Yeah. And I felt very enthused to get involved in the discussion, and there was like some to me, just insane conversations I had with people who were just like, I mean, delusional is like the wrong word, but they're
copium.
Just kind of I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like the unwillingness to see why the things that they think are bad changes are just like not necessarily that great for the game. Anyway, so I had a conversation with somebody about someone's like, a casual player will go, if they go in with their M80s, then it'll be, they do a craft and then they have 1 raid's worth of M80, because you get, how much do you get out of the craft now? I can't even remember.
100 or 80, maybe it's just 80.
It's either 80 or 100. I can't remember now. And I said to them, I was like, what kind of casual player is going into like, they do the craft and then they go into raid with 3 20-round mags of M80,
right?
Like just straight up. Like, is anyone really doing that?
Is even a non-casual player going to do that? is my thing.
Yeah, is a non-casual player going to do that? Like, and yeah, maybe somebody does it once and they go, "Oh crap, it takes me a long time. Maybe I won't do that again."
Right.
And then a couple of people said the obvious thing, which is like, I do that now because things are expensive, and I put M80s on top and TCW or whatever underneath. And someone else is just like, I can't. They were just like, yeah, but they're like, yeah, but what sometimes people are worried about, what if they miss their shots, or but then if you've got TCW underneath, then like it's not as effective, or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but that's the choice you have to make.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point of TCW even existing if you can just fill all your mags with M80
Right.
brainlessly every single time? Like,
Right.
that's not interesting at all. Like,
Yeah. If
you just
you
want
really
to auto pen class 4. Like, that's all you're
exactly,
saying here, right? Like, it's just like
that's
that's
what it
not like,
boils
yeah,
down
it's
to.
yeah, and I know you want to do that, but that's not
Right.
an interesting choice. It doesn't force you to make interesting decisions. That's what the game is about. That's why these decisions are interesting. So I don't know. I was like, yeah, you can do that if you want. If you die, you will lose all your
Right.
ammo. Yeah, like what? I don't know what else you want me to say.
Yeah.
Like it's your choice. I said, look, it's up to you. Yeah, if you want to maximize your chances of killing somebody,
Yeah.
at all costs,
For sure.
then fine. But you'll lose all your ammo in one go. Like,
Yeah.
it was just, I was like, I feel like I'm going insane here. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like, yeah, people just want to play. Like some
Right.
people do just want to play. Like, they don't really care about the economy side of the game, and they
Mhm.
just want to play with the good stuff and kill people.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's okay. But that's also not Tarkov. So I think people just have
Well,
to, like, anybody who's surprised by. I'll just say this. Sorry, before
no,
let
go
you
ahead.
get a word in. But like, if anybody is surprised by the changes that have been made and is angry about the changes because they weren't expecting them or whatever, they've genuinely not been listening
To
Nikita, to
okay.
the podcast, to Nice Guy, to
Yeah.
basically anybody who talks about the game in a way that is in line with like BSG's vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've just not been paying attention. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. What to comment on? I think what's kind of like screwed up about the situation you described, where people just want to shoot the best stuff, all the time, is that when the flea market came along, it really kind of like enabled that, because you could get so much money. And what's like, it's two things: the flea market and the hideout. Because I think what basically happens is, Giga Chad player, just as an example, kills everything on the map, loots everything, gets all the valuable hideout items that he takes out, sells to the plebs who just killed her, just trying to scrape by, craft their quest items or whatever. But he's just like funding his BP amass because he grinded, 400 hours in the first 2 days of the wipe. So it's like, I do think that's pretty screwed up. It's like, oh my God, I can't 3-hit everyone all the time anymore. It's like, no, that was and this is the crazy thing too, is because like one of the common things I saw was like, well, what's the point of leveling traders anymore? And it's like, okay, dude, that for me is like telling me that was definitely busted. If the only reason you leveled the traders was for the helmet and now it's gone, it's not even worth level traders, that just like answers everything for me. It's like, absolutely, this was the best change, because it was clearly broken that this was your only incentive to like level traders. I mean, you're totally not buying any weapon parts and building them or any armor from the traders. Absolutely not. I mean, the thousands of mods and rails that you get off of them and the little knickknacks for your scope, like, oh yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. The trader, like the meta of leveling the traders,
Mm-hmm.
was the only game in town, and we're slowly deviating from that. And I think that's okay, right? Because it was the only thing that you could do. And there was somebody else they were actually talking on behalf of their friend, because they actually disagreed with him, but they said, oh, my friend said that there's no point now getting to max traders anymore. He doesn't feel incentivized to get to max traders, because before he'd like grind up to get the ammo. And I was like, the implication though is that you basically just got to grind through like a load of mindless, brainless quests to get to the stuff that you want, and then you can start playing the game. Whereas now it's like, well, now you have a lot more agency as a player to decide what you want to do.
I'm not doing Grenadier
like,
this wipe. Like, I'm not actively gonna cheese it. Yes. Yay
Yeah,
me.
because you don't need to. You don't feel like you
Right.
absolutely have to, because you don't need to do it to get to BP. Because now the BP decision is more like, do I even want to use it or not? If I do, I have a way to get it. It's expensive and takes a long time. Okay, that's fine. And that's the thing. I think if people at the moment are not, the people who are like upset about it are
Mhm.
not interested in making those difficult choices, which is fair enough. You know, it's a valid view. It's fine. But I just don't think it's realistic based on everything that Nikita and BSG have ever said about the game and the way they want it to play, and the way that the game looks like it should be set out. Like there was one thing that I wanted to talk about the crafting. So I mean, I personally, I'm a big advocate of the changes, right? Clearly,
Right.
I don't think it's perfect by any means.
Sure.
It's a great thing that we've done, but I don't think it's perfect. And there was another thread that I ended up having a chat with Airwing about crafting in that. I think you might even have been in that thread too. And there
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of like there were sort of three situations that I was thinking about and describing about with crafting itself, which is that you have crafts that are expensive, but they're really quick. That's one way of going about it. You can have crafts that are actually quite cheap, but they take a very long time.
Mhm.
And you can have crafts that are both, right? So they're very expensive and they take ages. We're kind of in bucket 3 at the moment. So you look at M80 in particular. M80 is very expensive to do. It's like 2,500 rubles a round. So it's kind of similar to the way the flea market pricing used to be, but it takes you like 15 hours to do it. So it's a really, really long. And think like all the opportunity cost. Like if you're away from your computer, then like fair enough. But the opportunity cost of running that if you're around all day is actually enormous, because you could be making wires and red powder and all sorts of stuff in that time that the workbench is like locked up, right? So in that sense, it's actually
But
good for people who are away.
doing that, you wouldn't be able. The rubles you would gain from doing the wires wouldn't necessarily gain you. I guess it does gain you BP in an indirect way. You're just increasing your BP craft time by crafting wires to then take that money and turn it into BP craft components. You know what I mean?
Sort of, yeah.
Like
I
there is
mean, a bit
opportunity
less.
cost there, but
Yes,
assuming you
kind of,
want to
yes.
get BP as the end
Yeah,
result.
but I agree. I do agree with you on that point, though. It's like the increasing stack of money doesn't buy you BP now.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so there's definitely an element of that, which is good, right? And that's a good thing. You have
Mm-hmm.
to make a choice between, do I want the money, which can only be, there's now a limited pool of things that the money can buy,
Right.
and BP is not one of them. I have to spend some money and some time on it, right? We've got 2 resources now, really.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever did the crafts really, right? Unless you were like low level and you thought you really, really wanted to do them. Like I personally never used the crafts. I just waited until I got the trader levels.
It was okay for overnight just to have something crafting in there for
like
overnight.
a BP in there, like
Right.
a 5.6A1 before you get it from Peacekeeper once you've unlocked the
M61.
quest. Yeah, M61, whatever, just so you could buy a bit more, because you couldn't buy that much on the recess.
Right.
You know, there were reasons why you might do it. But yeah, it's like now it's like, okay, now we have like 2 very distinct resources. We have the monetary resource and we have the time resource. And in some ways, the time resource is almost more powerful, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of just like, I didn't really, because Twitter's just not really the place to
Yeah.
put this, but I was like brainstorming in my mind, you know, imagine how the game would be different. I'm not saying that this is good, right? But imagine that M80 was free to make, just for argument's sake.
Okay.
But it took 5 days and you only got 100. Like that would change things, right?
So you would
It would change things.
you'd be trading, 5 days of crafting because you can't craft anything else while that's crafting in
And the fact
game.
that you don't get that many, right? It's like 20 a day or something. And that's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Like that's a
Interesting.
very extreme example, but it's like that really limits the supply. So you can tinker with both. Like long and the short of it, I think
Mm-hmm.
for some of these like mid-tier things that have been removed that are like just on the cusp of being taken out of the game, like M80s, I feel that the time thing is more important than the cost thing. Because M80 is not like it's not an end game round, really. It's good, it's really good, but it's not end game. M61 should be expensive and take a long time. I feel like M80 should take a long time, but I don't think it should cost as much as it does. And I don't think
Yeah.
the cost is really the reason why the change to it being a craft. I don't think that's the thing that makes it painful. I think it's the length.
I mean, technically, yeah. That's a good point. The length could be shortened and the cost would still be okay because it wouldn't take as long. But technically, you can lower the cost on all these crafts because most I think all of them use some form of gunpowder. Most of them probably use 2 forms of gunpowder. And you can, at level 3 workbench anyways, or level 2, I think you can craft every single type of gunpowder. And that will save you some money. Like PS, you can just buy off the trader. The greens, you can just buy off the trader. I think the reds is the only one where you can't just buy components off the traders. You have to craft the blues via from the trader from buying PS and then input them and then craft the green and input them and then buy the matches. But it still helps reduce the cost. But you're adding like, that's an extra hour, that's an extra 2 hours, that's an extra 3 hours, it's like 5 hours. And then you got to do the M80 craft. That's like 18 hours. So it's like a 23-hour craft just to get M80 at a cheaper crafting price. It's like, I don't know if it's really.
Because that's the thing about all of the pre stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you can buy all of the pre things from the flea market, and flea market taxes complicate this a bit. So for this, I'm going to ignore flea market taxes for a moment because it does make things more complicated. But if there aren't any flea taxes, all of the prerequisites for a craft, if they can all be bought from the flea, in the same vein as I've always argued because of opportunity cost or whatever, say you need 2 green or 3 greens and 3 blues or whatever. It doesn't even, like, the prerequisites don't even matter for crafting because you should just craft the thing in the workbench that makes the most money and buy all the stuff you need always, because otherwise it's an opportunity cost thing. You know what I mean? It's like if blue gun, so say the green gunpowder is like 50k and blue gunpowder, for whatever reason, they make the spawn rate crazy and it's 1,000 rubles.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't bother ever making the blue. You would never do it because it would take too long and it's not worth the ruble gain, right? So you'd always buy the blue from other people. Right. And in that same argument, you should always just craft the most. So in a lot of cases, you craft wires and then you buy the green, you buy the blue.
Yeah,
because wires will make, because it's a money thing. Like it's not about the item, it's a money thing. And because you can buy and sell all of those items freely from the flea and to the flea, then you should always just craft the one item. Like say wires made 1,000,000 rubles, you do that and buy all the components.
Yeah,
this is just a less extreme version of that. So I've always argued for that. Now, flea fees make it complicated because, by chaining, you avoid having to pay the fee on the flea. So there are situations where the lesser craft is worth it because the more expensive craft, you pay more fees, and so the profit's lower because you're putting it on the flea to then take the money out. Right. And so chaining makes more sense because the flea fees are so high. There is an argument there in certain circumstances, but it's craft to craft dependent, and it depends on the prices and it depends on how things go. But yeah, broadly speaking, this opportunity cost thing is like it's one of my biggest deals. I'm just like, yeah, but you're quite right. You can go and craft all of these things and all the inputs. So the marketplace is free flowing in that way, and you can kind of you're implicitly decreasing the cost of the trade or the barter by doing a profitable craft, making money in other ways, whatever it is that you need to do, and then buying those components in and then making it. So the money thing is maybe less important. But yeah, the time thing, it just gates all the ammo. You can only, like, now the workbench is like the one bottleneck for all the ammos that are only in the workbench. Like if you want PS12B, you want BP, you want SS190s, you want any of these things, you have to go through the workbench now. And unless you have Elite, you can only craft one of them at a time. So you have to really choose. And that's the crux of it, I think. That's the main difference, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's really interesting that they added all these crafts because now, like, this is one thing I really like too about it. Kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Is I don't have to do a specific quest line to get an ammo. It gives you way more agency. I just like, which is easier to do, the Grenadier quest line, like all the requirements to, like, first you got Grenadier requirements, and then you got the previous prerequisites for that, which is the quest line that leads to that, and then you got the trader level, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or getting workbench level 2 or level 3, whatever. I don't even know what it is. It's just like, to me, the workbench one is easier because you just need to meet the item requirements and the trade requirements, which is just have prepper at level 3, which means I can do any set of Prepper level 3 quests or Mechanic 3, whatever it is. You know, it's way more. You get way more agency, way more player choice. If you want to min max it, you can do the easiest quest or whatever. But I think it's like, I don't know if easier is the right word, but I just think it's better this way. Instead of I have to do X, Y, Z quests to get this thing, and then it was obviously broken when it was on Trader. But I like the direction we're going. So I'm gonna shift the topic a little bit. I think it's say something a little controversial. I think the M80 on Peacekeeper 4 with M62 might be okay. And the reason I say this is because when you look at M80 versus M62, stat-wise, they're not really that different. Like, M62 is a little bit more pen and has, reduces recoil a little bit. It also reduces accuracy. So you're, less accurate, but very minor thing, right? But they're pretty close together. However, M62 is like twice the price of M80, I think. I'm not too sure.
It might even be like three and a half times as much. It's like a lot.
Yeah. Well, I should have said that, I should have said that M62 is a tracer, whereas M80 is not. So like in some cases, there's a reason to go with M80 and there's a reason to go with M62 because maybe you like tracers, maybe you don't like tracers. There's kind of like that personal preference. But putting them on the same trader level, I think is interesting because you do kind of have like, here's the cheaper version, doesn't have a tracer. Here's the more expensive version that's like a little bit better, has a tracer. I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting, because you kind of get like a choice. Now this is where, they'd be like Peacekeeper 4, that's way too damn high. I don't know. I think it might be kind of okay, and I say that because it probably is kind of, I don't know, like M80 and M62 are like really good, but then if that's the case, then they should also put LPS on level 4. You know what I mean? But
that's a hot take.
But then you think about that and you say, well, what can go in the LPS? It's like the Mosin and the SVD. You know what I mean? Those are the only two guns. Whereas, 76 by 51 NATO or whatever it is, you can go in like so many guns.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. Maybe it is in the right spot. I don't know. It's like, because if it was moved to Peacekeeper 3, for example, and I just got Peacekeeper 3, I probably would start stockpiling on M80. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's kind of an easy choice again.
Right.
So maybe you're right. Yeah, because I mean that's always been my argument about 76251 is that it goes in a billion guns, and some of those guns get really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have to take the two things together, right? It's the reason why you see a lot more M80 in previous patches than you do 366 AP.
Yeah,
because it goes in two guns, the VPO Bolty and the 209, and people don't want to use them because one's a bolt action and the accuracy is like and you can't really mod it and whatever, and the other one, the recoil, is like off the charts crazy.
Yeah,
and it's like an AK style, like it's it's not that great. You can't just go, you can't just like take out like a meta M1A and just go and just laser people with it, right? With a 50 round drum. It's just not how that ammo works, not how that caliber works. So yeah, you always have to take like the guns that it goes into in context with the ammo. I agree. And so on that basis, it does. Yeah, maybe you are right. I think the only thing that I worry about a little bit is that I was going to say that by the time you get to Peacekeeper 4, M80 is kind of like, I'm not like, is outdated the right word? It's kind of redundant, but I'm not sure whether it is. Especially if you can just buy it from the trader,
right?
And you can buy 100, and people are doing mag stacking. If you make M61, sure, but you probably not just going to take M61 in the mags. Not anymore. Not now that you can't buy it. So something's got to go underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, then you put your M80s there. You put your M62s there. Sure, and they're on.
That's a good idea.
No, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, I do think we'll see more SVD. Like a lot of people have predicted the rise of the SVD because all the rounds are good. SMB is insane. But as you say, I talked about it a little bit. I predicted the SVD as well, partly because of the Scav changes. I forgot about this. This is something else.
Absolutely. We got to talk about
the Scav guns change. Yeah, the Scav guns. because now that you can, I guess we can sort of transition into that a little bit now. But the fact that you can repair scav guns from, rather than coming out at 55 out of 58, they now come out at 55 out of 90. You can have like passable weapons, especially ones that are semi-auto and don't fire too many bullets. You can use, like I used SVDs from the, I used like 50 durability SVDs to complete Punisher Part 6 last wipe, just to kind of see what happened and if it worked. And I made that look horrible monstrosity, full ergo, but it looked like a gunsmith build that someone's min-maxed to like try and do it for the cheapest price. With like the Troy stock on the back.
Yeah.
And it was awful. It was a rancid build. And I completed it with that, and I didn't get a single jam. And I was running like 50% of my raids, I would say. I was running like 55 durability SVDs. You just don't fire that many bullets, right? People die in like 3 hits. The one arm, one thorax, and then the next one, they're dead. It's like, it's mental. It's just
That's a good point.
It's just crazy. So the SVD, I think, could be quite good. We'll see. People still need it for Punisher 6, so it's going to be expensive now. But once people have got through that, I think it might get cheaper, and it might be a decent weapon to use. And it's just so freely available. At least there's something. There's something for people to use. I hadn't actually. I can't remember exactly where the ammo sits. But maybe we will see some of these rounds get moved up to other traders or whatever. Because you can buy LPS pretty freely, right? It's like Prepper 1.
Yeah, I think it's Prepper 1.
And then PS is Prepper 3. It's not even that high. You can buy PS rounds, which...
And then T45 is...
pen?
Or what is it? It's not T45.
T46 is the cheap one, but that's also Prepper 1. But that's Prepper 2, interestingly.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Slightly worse than LPS, but...
Yeah.
Kind of. But then SMB, I mean, there's a craft for it. You could buy it at Prepper 4. And SMB is cracked, right? SMB is the M61 of the caliber, but it only goes in the SVD. And the SVD struggles with recoil versus ergo. It's not like you can put it in a Meta SR25 or a Meta MLA.
Right.
It's not how it works. You got to try and go the ergo route or the recoil route. If you take the recoil route on the SVD, the thing takes you 16 million millennia to actually ADS. And if you go for the ergo route, the thing flies up into the air every time you fire it. So it's,
Yeah. This is why I say before BSG does any sort of quote unquote caving in, let them cook. Okay. I love that meme. Let the changes play out for at least half a wipe before they like do any like minor tweaking. You know what I mean? Because I just really think that perhaps this, no one's perfect on the first try, but we really should get the data before we, do any like knee-jerk reactions on changes, I think, anyways.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of changes, so we need to kind of slow down and digest a little bit.
So one thing I do have for a little bit of a tip for adjusting to the meta is absolutely hit every ammo crate you see now. Like before they were just like whatever, but now you just absolutely hit every ammo crate. You always check scav mags. Always. If you weren't doing that before, absolutely now. There's now I'm probably gonna have to change my keybinds because I feel like the one thing we could see come out of this is you have your PMC mags and you have your scav mags. And your scav mags have all crap ammo, all your normie ammo, and then your PMC mags has your crafted ammo, your found in raid ammo, the stuff that you worked really hard to get. You can tag your mags, and then there's also a feature where you can hold R and like scroll wheel to like select the mag you want to reload. I had that like immediately unbound when I first started playing this game. I was like, why would I ever need to do that? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, that was way before they had mag tagging, but now that we have all these culminating changes coming to fruition, I feel like it might be a good time to rebind that and start using that as a strategy to help save on ammo, because you don't want to spend your 20 rounds of BP that you found in raid on scavs, man. You really don't. I mean, unless you're like really struggling, you're like, damn, these scavs are kicking my ass to swipe, I'm gonna teach them a lesson, grab my AKS, load in BP.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The thing that I've always struggled with that is like having to swap mags and reload and stuff, like trying to fight with PMCs, fights or whatever, and they'll be like, always tempted to take in a pistol or something, but like these days I just don't feel confident taking scavs on with a pistol. Do you know what I mean? It's just like I'm gonna have all my final raid ammo in my main gun. I can swap to my sidearm and then just freaking die. So, dude,
they burst now. Like I don't know if that was a thing previously, because I take my breaks, but they freaking like one asuka. whoa, chill out with that PPSH, bro. Like I thought it was a player scav. It was just like freaking scaring me, man. Like
Yeah,
relax.
some of the AI is like it is getting better over time. Like people say, oh, it's cracked and blah, blah, you know, it's just aimbotty and stuff. But like sometimes, especially when they make changes, obviously because we're not used to it either, right? It's like not the usual scav behavior, so it takes us a while to get into the groove of the
Right.
new scavs and new AI. But I do think it is getting better over time. You know, they do leaning and stuff, and sometimes like, I had a fight against PMC the other day, and I thought he was a scav, and there's like sometimes I've been shot at, and I'm like, whoa, PMC, and then it's just a scav, as you say, with the PPSH or an AK-74M or whatever. So I know what you mean. Definitely know what you mean. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting and important topic. I haven't really figured out how I'm going to deal with it yet. Like the mags thing, I've never really liked. Same, like I have it unbound as well. Like, I used to have it bound ages ago, but I just have it unbound now because I have the super quick one unbound too. Because it's just like I don't take in that. I'm not like a 16 rat. You know, like take a black rock with 1,000 rags and then 5 spare in the backpack and have them swapping out while I'm doing the. No, never been like that. It's like I'm a 3 mags guy, and drop a mag and it really sucks. So I don't know. Maybe we need to change it. I'll have a think and we'll see. But maybe that'll become a new thing. I don't know.
Yeah. The other one I would say that we might see as a meta shift is container setups. I think it might be worth bringing in 2 ammo types: your good ammo and then your crap ammo, quote unquote. Yeah, you're already doing it. Yeah, see, because I think it makes sense. Like you
855 in one, 5.6A1 in the other slot. Yeah. And so it's just like you fire off the max. So often I'll be doing, especially if I'm running 5.56, it's like half and half max.
Mm-hmm.
So like 8.55, and I'm probably a little bit ahead of that now. But like when I was getting into 5.6A1, I'll be running half and half. And part of the beauty of running half and half, which is actually quite cool, if you don't know how much is in the mags, you've had like crazy firefight, and it's just like, you know, question mark across all your magazines. If you unload one bullet, if it's 5.6A1, you know that it's in the top half. And if it's 8.55, you know it's less than half. Automatically, just by unloading one round, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so then if I unload it and I see 8.55, I'll put like 8.55 in it. And then based on the amount of timer that's left, I'll guesstimate how much is left to go in the mag. And whether we get about halfway or whatever, like depending on how much I think it's full, then I'll swap to the 5.6A1 and then re-top it up again. So I don't end up with like 29 6A1s and one M855 at the bottom in like one random magazine. I tried to keep them like balanced 50-50.
Right.
That's actually been pretty cool. I've been enjoying doing that. That's fun, just to try and then trying to keep those stacks. We've got 60 of both in the raid, and then trying to keep those stacks in, because there's a high temptation just to end up with, you leave the raid, you've got 55 855 still, and like all of your 6A1's all gone. Because you just like keep top loading with the good stuff, but it's like, you know, making sure that if it's quite an empty mag, then you're using the crappy stuff first, and then just top loading with the good stuff.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I've been up to. So yeah, I think that's definitely could become a thing. And I've not really ever done that before. I think I've always just taken. I usually take 2 stacks of ammo, but I've just always taken the same and just stack up from whichever. But yeah, I don't know. Could be a thing. Could be a thing.
The other final thing is, I think it might be worth. It definitely is worth, in my opinion, either bringing in an empty slot in your container, or something that's easily replaceable, like a splint or a hemostat, you know, something that you can just easily replace, and putting your found in raid ammo in there. Like when you find that M80 stack of M80, it's always going in the container, which is like kind of sad for me, because I was like, well, that's just going to be a thing now. So it's like, definitely you want to find it first. Like you kind of have to, right? So Hatchet running to ammo caches, anyone?
Oh my god.
No, can't be that bad.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just trying to like think of what we've spoken about so far. So
I was gonna say we probably jump on armor, because we haven't talked about that.
Exactly. So the other stuff, we'll probably bundle all these things together. There's quite a few things, but how big the ramifications are. But anyway, the armor stuff. So the big one is the rat rig is now 70k. The class 4 armor, the 6B3TM, the one that everybody used when you got to level 2 Ragman. Again, it was the easy path to progression. You got level 2 Ragman, you bought the rat rig. It was the cheapest thing. It was the best thing. It actually is not that bad. It's like combined materials, I think, and is it titanium or combined materials? I can't remember, but it's like it's decent. It's not ceramic, and people don't like taking it because It's
It's heavy.
3x4, and on the inside it's 3x4, and it's heavy. So it's like it's not a space multiplier, and it was great. So now it's 70k, and people are like moaning a little bit about that, but in my opinion, I think it's balanced. Like 70k for that, it's 85k for the MMAC, it's about 100 to 110k for the Trooper. Like it's now those things are now priced fairly, I think.
Are you telling me they're upset about the brain dead choice that everyone was doing and running? That
But they just wanted to get to
they made
level 2 Peacekeeper and buy M80, buy the RFP from Skier, and then buy the Rat Rig from Ragman 2. What's wrong with that? Like, it's they just want to play the game, man. Like, stop people having fun, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So
I
now
didn't even
people
think
have to make
about
difficult decisions.
the
What do you mean?
I didn't even think about that. Now it's much more in line with the MMAC and the Trooper's like the best class 4, arguably, which was always, available, but now it makes the choices more harder. It's not just a nerf bat into the ground. RIP VSS.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I've been running the Trooper for the first time probably ever. Like there's so many times I'm looking on the Flea, and if you get there at the right time, like if it's 120,000, I'm probably not going to. But every time I've gone to the Flea, it's like 100k or like 98k, and I'm like, do I buy a Rat Rig for 70k or an MMAC for 85k, or when I can buy a Trooper for like 98k? Like if it's a lot more than that, then obviously I won't do it. But I think I've been lucky the couple of times I've been on there, and I'm like, I'll probably buy the Trooper because like it freaking tanks, dude. Like if you get shot at with ammo that doesn't pen class 4 reliably, that thing's got insane effective durability. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you're normally dead from blunt by the time it's got to like 60 durability. It's nuts. So when it comes back, it's like, and it's super repairable too. People obviously take it, but it's not a rig, so it doesn't space multiply either. So sometimes people like, if they're wearing a rig, like they can't really take it because like there's not. They could take yours, I suppose, but people do take it because it's value, but it's not necessarily that great value per slot at 100k and 9 slots. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like in that sort of funny. It's in that funny thing. Like sometimes it's gone, sometimes it's not. But I've never run the Trooper before because I've always thought it was overrated. But now, I don't know. Like it almost feels like the armor's like evening out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's like class 2 is like 20k. Class 3 is now 30k to 50k. I don't know why people pay 50k for class 3, but they do. And then class 4 is like now starts at 70k, finishes probably at like 120 if you're looking at like the AVS and the TV 110 potentially, or like 150 even. And then the Corund now begins probably at about 130k because of the diaries thing, and then that then runs up into the rest of them with even more expensive for all the other armors. So like armor itself has got a buff, but armor is now more expensive than it was in some cases. I think it's been tweaked. I feel like it's been smooth.
Yes, I think smooth because I was kind of against them changing anything, as I said earlier. Like I was like, when the first changes hit, I was like, great. I hope they don't keep changing stuff because I want to see how this plays out. And they started changing more stuff, armors and such. But I think it's in a pretty safe spot because it's not too drastic. The one other one that was, kind of a big deal that people were complaining about was which I don't know if it's still the case because I've heard different stuff, but the Alton, I guess there's 3 of them. The Gazelle bar is removed. No, sorry, the Gazelle purchase, the cash purchase is removed, which you unlock from a quest. So you still have the barter, which is fine. And I think that's great because, if someone's really struggling for cash and they find a gold chain or a coffee that's found in a raid, they can then sell in the flea market, and it's probably going to sell for a lot because it's associated with that barter. So like, but then they may not realize that they're giving someone a gazelle, a fraction of a gazelle, but that's the game we play. Anyways, so yeah, gazelle, the Alton helmet, and the wrist T helmets, maybe even the face shields. I don't know, but those
I think it's just the helmets apparently.
Okay, and is it the cash or is it the barters that got removed?
I don't think you could buy them in cash anymore. It was the barters that got removed. So you can't buy them now at all.
Which honestly, I'm kind of okay with. I mean, I ran my fair share of wrist T's and Altons, not a lot, but they were. I don't know. I kind of think. I think what they should do, and what they're doing or working towards, is like all the S tier shit just needs to be not readily available 24 hours a day. You know what I mean? It's just like let's lessen that, because then it just becomes who can grind the fastest to X requirement to then become a Giga Chad. You know what I mean? It just becomes a speed race, and it's like that's not most people aren't gonna be able to do that and experience that, and B, it's really not that fun once you get to the end. It's really not. Like, do you wonder why people are so whiny and bitchy on Twitter when 6 months into the wipe? I'll tell you why. It's not that fun, guys.
Yeah, I'm bored, right? Because like there's no progression, because you can buy everything and you can do everything. Like when you have to work for each piece again and use what you get, you know, it's like you find an alternate. Oh, right, well, I got one, so now I can use it in one raid. Like I just got to pick which raid I want to use it in, because I might die straight away. You know, come on, well, I think it's fine.
Yeah, and I really like too. This is the one other thing I'll say. We're still kind of discovering, but there seems to be a lot of, we talked about last week, but a lot of like quests, like items locked behind quests on traders. Like I just got SP7 unlocked from doing a Prapper Street quest, which I thought was really cool. And so like now, you know, I have that ability essentially, but the quest line's kind of a dead end. It doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really do anything for me. You know, it's just like this small, kind of okay ammo I have access to from Prepper to fixed price. It's kind of neat. You know, it's not too crazy, but we'll see. I don't know.
That's the critical point about that, is the fact that it's not like a crazy. It's like, you know, just like a niche ammo that goes in a particular gun for like specific use case. It's not like, yeah, BP on Grenadier is like bad because everyone grinds it. Whereas this is like, you might want to get it if, you know, but it's not a meta round, so it's kind of fine. It's like if you want to get it, cool. And some people use.
Do you
SP7,
like
great.
meta? Do you like the Keter? This is a pretty interesting thing you could do. You know, it's neat.
Yeah, gives people that agency again, which is pretty nice. Oh, the other thing, which I think some people are going to be very sad about, the AACPC got changed. I didn't actually put it in my video, but the barter looks like it's been absolutely torpedoed. So it was so good before. It was like the reason why people completed Longline, and now it's like 2 Kadur and like Moonshine. So AACPC is now like, what? I don't even know what's that's going to cost you, like 300k.
Honestly,
probably when Moonshine goes up, but.
I mean, like, if we're gonna have good shit available, I think it should be barters, and because that way, like, one player is getting, you know, when someone buys high tier ammo off the trader, their money just gets liquidated. No one else gets to see that money. I mean, it gets converted into the thing, right? I guess, but when you do a barter, someone's getting the money and you're getting the item, you know, because you got to buy the components presumably to do the barter. So, like, again, example, Timbo finds a moonshine, he extracts, he gets to sell it. You know, it's like nice. One player gets a really good armor. He may not be aware of this, but at least he gets cash to do some hideout upgrades to help his progression. You know, it's kind of, I like that. So I like that the barters, if they're going to have really good shit, make them like really expensive barters, but you get the really good shit. So like because now most people aren't going to have good ammo, and they're probably going to have like somewhere around class 3 penetration, probably on average. So if I'm going to run around for class 5, you know what I mean? I'm going to be tanking a lot of stuff if they're hitting me in the chest, dude. Like class 5's kind of gotten like kind of crazy now. So if it's going to be on the trader, I think it needs to be a barter only, and a really, like, it needs to be an expensive barter.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn about barters because, like, so in my opinion, like barters are better than trader purchases, because trader purchase is just like one fixed amount of money and that's it. It never fluctuates with supply and demand. At least with the barters, players are selling those items, as you say, and so they're cheap at the beginning of the wipe and then maybe expensive at the end of the wipe, depending on what it is. As people, the supply and demand changes for those items. But it also, the one thing that I don't like about it is that it then pins the value of that item to that particular barter. And if there's multiple items pinned to these things, which sometimes there are, the item just becomes like the most profitable endpoint in terms of how much it costs, and all the other barters become useless. It's the one thing that I don't like about them. But in theory,
one downside,
in theory, it's good. In theory, it's good. It's like, you know, if you've got Moonshine connected to this ACPC, it's like, well, it's expensive because of the Scav case, but it's not expensive because of the ACPC. So it's like, well, the value of this armor is now based on a completely unrelated thing. I don't know. It's just like it's okay, but maybe it'll work out. But I feel like this stuff works out kind of more by Yeah, I feel like it works out more by coincidence than
Exactly. I was gonna say
by
it's
planning.
gonna be really hard to balance around this. Like, they needed a
Yeah.
pre-existing item that's like a good, historically this price has remained the same. Moonshine would be that item, right? So
Exactly. So yeah, class 5 is pretty nuts now. Like I'd forgot actually that you can get the Corund on Prepel 3. So like I can use the Corund with Diaries trade now. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do that because it's gonna tank up lots of people's bullets, I think. So I haven't actually run any raids with it on yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's worth it. So the other one that is the scope changes. I guess is the only thing we haven't touched on.
mhm.
Voodoo's gone. The Razor's gone. And then literally one day after talking about the Schmidt and Bender 1x8, that's also gone. I don't know whether that was me. Lots of other people talking about it too, so don't shoot me. It's not my fault.
Well, I
It's
mean,
not
dude,
my fault.
that's where my mind went. It's like, oh, they removed these scopes. I know what the new metascope's gonna be because it's like they fixed the sensitivity. Yes, it's a 1 to 8, it's more zoom, but like it's like it's usable. Like it's way more usable now. And it's basic functionally the same thing. It's just got more zoom, which
Yeah,
could be a bonus. So
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
glad they got rid of it, actually. Because it
it was going to
was
be the
literally
next one.
it was literally the next on the list. So
Yeah, because it was 55k on Jaeger, I think, something like that. So now it's a little bit more, but it hasn't still completely caught up. People are
Mhm.
still in the sort of voodoo. It's the thing. There's the legacy of the voodoo and the razor. People know it works. They used it for 2 wipes or whatever.
Right.
And voodoo for a long time before that even. So it's got that legacy of people. They know they like what they know. They know the voodoo works well. So that's probably always going to be more expensive, even if the Schmidt, because no one used that one, right? Because it sucked. So people have to kind of get used to it, and it'll slowly close the gap between those two things. Yeah, some other stuff got like longer times and things. Flechette took like a little bit of a nerf. You can't really
Oh
sell
yeah,
Flechette on
thank
free
God.
anymore.
Thank
It's kind of
God.
interesting. Like it's more expensive on Jaeger, but not that much. It's only 334,000. Sorry, 334 rubles. It's not that much. But yeah, the craft is now way longer. You actually it is at level 1 Intel Center, or without level 3 Intel Center, let's put it this way. Without level 3 Intel Center and the flea market fee reduction, you cannot sell Flechette and make money from the craft anymore. It is not possible. The flea market fee is like
Interesting.
2/3 of the price, and the remaining profit doesn't cover the cost of the input. It just doesn't. There's no way that you can make money. Like it doesn't make enough. You only get 60. There's no way. Like it's insane. So I think it'll only work if you have Intel 3. But yeah, I haven't really checked on the flea market for it, but I still think it should be more expensive than 334 Jaeger. But it's something.
It's a move in the right direction, I think. I'm just happy they nerfed it because that round is just like God, dude. Because it's a level 1 workbench craft, right?
It
I
might
think
be 2.
maybe it's 2.
Maybe it's 2, but even still, I mean, that's only level 20. It's not very much.
Yeah,
But you can make it for yourself just fine.
that's the thing, right? Yeah.
So when I start running that stuff, then I might make it for myself because it is kind of worth it. Then it's like it's now. So they really did do a number on it. It's now 5 kite gunpowders. Right, it used to be 1 kite gunpowder and the tank.
Dude, it
and now
was
you use
it was so good. Like
It was
I
basically
know
like you
it's a
use the fuel.
shotgun.
You need to use the fuel anyway. You use the fuel,
Right.
and then it's like 10k to make
Yeah.
the Flechette. Like it was mental.
And it was
But
also
now,
like people were buying fuel and doing the craft. Like it's good when that's happening.
Yeah, full of fuel. They're just doing the
Right.
craft, like that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. So now it's like 833 around. Which if you get to level 20 and then do that, then that's fine. That works. But yeah, that's the only other one really I think deserves a big mention.
Final thing I'll say is these scavs, we talked about their durability thing being changed, but they also just like the guns they have now and gear is like way different, and I love that. Like it's just nice to see. It's nice to see new stuff, and it's interesting, and it's a good mix up. I love it. Like they kind of like redeemed themselves for me with this ammo change, not because like I'm more excited that they're changing this and it affects the game like drastically. You know what I mean? That's what's really exciting for me. Not necessarily that they changed this and it's
exactly. It's not like this is the specific change that you wanted. It's
right.
like they're trying something radical. Great, whatever it is, I don't care.
Yeah.
They're trying something. It's fine. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment for sure. Absolutely for sure. And just before we move on to like some of the other topics, what do you now think is the next best round that's like unlimited? Because I've been looking, or as you can imagine, I've been looking.
I know. I don't
I've got an
know,
answer.
dude. I haven't looked that much, honestly. If I had to guess, well, this is the other thing is people are saying leg metas, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Like we'll have to see.
maybe.
But dang,
I
dude.
mean, it's still good. It's still good. I mean, 366 APM is still pretty good. But, you know,
I don't know,
you still
Giga.
buy on the Flea.
I can't really think of anything that you
LPS
could.
is pretty good. You know, that's so good, but it's in the SVD. You know, all the
I
other
was
SMG rounds have been removed. You
I
can't get
was
anything that's about 40 pen. Is there maybe a round left that's like 40 pen that fits in an SMG that just
APC
absolutely tears through people and they just die instantly?
45
I got
AP.
people in chat. No, it's not 45. 45 AP is gone. That's like way off in like the distance. I
Oh, I
can't
thought it
remember if that's
was.
on PC before anymore.
Yeah, I think it is. Which I was kind of
I'm not even
surprised,
sure.
but it does only go in a few guns. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
I put you out your misery.
Yeah.
4.6 FMJ. FMJ
For
SX for
the
the MP7. Whole buddy. It's still so good.
Does that have
It's still
40
so
40
good.
pen?
It's got
Really?
40 pen. It does indeed. It's insane.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it
I
was
got
like
people
35.
I got people in chat hating, just being like, God freaking damn it, stop talking, shush. Shut up. Dude, I've been using the MP7. I used it in resort. It's just 'cause it
Oh,
absolutely
okay.
knife through butters straight through class 4. It's insane. So basically, anybody who's listening, just like buy up the FMJs now because I think they got rid of the SS190s. You know, they scooted that straight off the trays completely and only into craft only mode, which is like
Okay.
crazy. But you can buy FMJs. You could buy quite a few of them at Peacekeeper 3.
I was gonna say you could probably get like what 200.
You buy quite a lot, yeah. I've
Okay.
been buying quite a lot. Let me tell
Okay.
you, I've been
Yeah.
buying quite a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, it's kind of situational, right? Like the MP7 is very short range. That you're not going to be firing at over 200 meters. That's just not the way the gun works. But I feel like there's a bit of a, you know, I
You
think it's
basically
the
get the performance more or less of the AP 45 AP. Well, I mean, you don't get the damage, but you get the pin part.
yeah,
Is the
exactly. You
important
get the
thing.
pen part, which is the important part, and the damage it's not fantastic. I mean, like the MP7s historically had some of the lowest damage in the whole game, but
It
it's
shoots fast.
it shoots fast. You know, it's 950 RPM, and
Yeah.
it
Okay.
really does destroy people. So I think that for me, that's the
That probably
sore
needs to get the
thumb. I
nerf
think,
back.
yeah, 43 damage, 40 pen. So you 3-tap every class 4
Yeah.
at 950 RPM,
Yeah.
which is pretty insane. And if you hit them in the head, they probably do just instantly die. Probably not with the class 4 helmet, but with the class 3 helmet, they definitely die with 40 pen. I'm pretty sure. I could do the calculation, but I think they die with class 3. With class 4, it's touch and go, but it's good. I went into resort with 20 rounders because you can't buy the 30 rounders until mechanic 3, and everyone was like, "You're crazy! It's going to be like gone." And I took 5 20 rounders in, so it's just like trying to play around corners. Like I'm not going to get into any sustained gunfights. Shredded 2 dudes with it. I was like, "Yeah, it's good. It feels so good." One guy
All
had like
right.
they had 366 AP, and the other guy had, I can't remember, something else like relatively decent. It was either like BT or BP or something. Just yeah. MP7 20 rounder straight through to his boys. It was good. Oh yeah, and the other one is maybe the SP6. That's a good point actually. Some people in chat pointing out
For the
SP6 for
Val?
the VSS and the Val. Yeah, because
Ah,
that's like 58 damage and 46 pen. So it's got the same pen as BP. It's the recoil's like, but it's
that's the
Frapple
thing,
3.
man. The
It's
recoil.
Frapple 3. You can use it on semi. You know, does 50, like you'll kill people in 2 shots with that because the
Yeah.
damage is so high. You'll probably like, what's 116 damage? Will you 2-tap? You won't 2-tap a class 5 though. Is the only thing about that. So anyway, yeah, I mean that's maybe a contender.
Yeah,
It's maybe a
maybe
contender.
we'll look into it.
Mm, mm, mm. We'll see.
I can't.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for this wipe. I'm
Yeah,
excited to see how it plays out, and for the future if they continue refining this concept and seeing how it goes. It's cool.
indeed. Indeed. What do you want to talk about next? Still quite a
Let's
few
do a
random things.
quick Let's just get audio quickly out of the way. So I think it's a quick and easy one. Basically, the long and short of it is there's a video Airwing put out if you want to watch it. Long and short of it is when you're crouch walking, it's as loud as if you were when you're walking slow, it's as loud as if you were walking at full speed. Now you get like you press cap locks, you can toggle between slow and fast. Well, it's bugged. Clayton did a video on it, or like a tweet on it, a tweet, and yeah, that's basically it. It desperately needs to get fixed. The only way you can be silent is if you're standing completely still. So there's basically three stances. Now there's neutral, which is standing still. There's walking, and then there's running. There is no in between. So it's kind of it's really sucks because for someone like me, I like to be stealthy. Like I can kind of like flex between stealthy and super aggro. So since that option's gone, it just kind of makes it's like everyone can hear everyone basically. So you're just like, oh, he's there. I'll just, assuming I'm not getting lied to by the audio. Oh, he's there. I'll just like right peek or rush out and shift W. It's just kind of like there is no being sneaky. It sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no difference between really being like overweight or underweight anymore either. Like it doesn't seem to make any difference. You just can't sneak ever at all. And it's kind of annoying. And especially if you're playing on a map that doesn't have the full treatment for the new audio. Everyone's just in some kind of sphere around you.
That's
you
so
just
true.
get anybody,
Yeah.
no matter like occlusions, just like, a myth. And you can hear somebody walking from like West Wing and East Wing and stuff. Like it's bonkers.
Oh, he's there. I guess I'll stay still here till he makes a move. Both of us are staying still. 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's got to the point where like I'm like even scared to like turn my PMC in case it makes a sound effect that I don't hear or whatever. So I'm like literally like free looking head, like hello, like trying to see some stuff. Like freeze in the corridor. I'm like I can just about see the doorway or my free look. So maybe this will be okay. It's very annoying. I mean, we've had this issue before. This issue has been introduced in other patches in the past, but it was repatched out relatively quickly last time. I hope that it gets fixed.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's just stupid, and it just means people are stationary and you can't move at all. You can't even reposition yourself slightly, and you just have to assume if you hear somebody that they've heard you, and you just work on that basis. So I've just been walking around all over the place, and sometimes been completely stationary or whatever. But yeah, it means that looting stashes is usually pretty good. But there's no sound effects for looting or bushes or whatever. So you're like looting a stash, and then you hear someone, you're like, oh,
you know what's funny? You know how barbed wire doesn't make a sound?
It does sometimes, but yeah, not always.
Yeah, I was gonna say it does sometimes because it caught me off guard. Like it's jump scared me. As like I got so accustomed to barbed wire not making noise that I hit barbed wire recently and it made a noise. Like, whoa, what the frick was that?
I hit some barbed wire recently to get from halfway through level 2 vitality to level 3 vitality. Yeah. Did you have to do it this wipe?
I don't know, man. I've been like dying a lot recently, so I may not have to, but
I might not need to.
You get 26 is like when you get Therapist 3, so we'll find out in the next week.
You're not quite there. All right. I was like in this sort of race, I was like, am I going to get there on time? But I had to do like 4 raids of barbed wire to do it. I was like halfway through level 2. I was like, it was closer than I'd ever been. I've been in a lot of fights and I died a lot this wipe. So I was like, maybe this will actually work. And I've had like a lot. And this is the thing that's crazy to me. I've had a lot of fights where I've been completely shredded and had to heal like everything.
Yeah.
And I still didn't make it, dude. Like, my God. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so audio continues to suck in more ways than one. But it's fine. We deal with it. Yeah, so I guess like another quick one. I did put a video out about the EOD advantage. Now I've been getting some messages like literally in the last like hour that maybe something has changed. But anyway, the crux of the thing was previously you needed to do the flash drives quest to get Friend from the West Part 1. They changed the requirement because they've like mixed stuff up a little bit to make things less linear. And in doing so, they put Friend from the West Part 1, I'm pretty sure it was behind Skier 2. I think it was like previously, maybe previous to like maybe today. I'm not sure because people have been messaging me. But anyway, so I'm pretty sure it was Skier 2. Now the problem with doing that is that they basically inadvertently given EOD players an enormous buff because you already automatically get Skier 2 when you get to level 15. Yeah, when you get to 15 because you already have the rep literally at level 1. Whereas the standard account players have to grind through, and there really aren't that many quests for Skier, and some even take away rep from him. So you either have to do like a load of dailies, or you have to complete the flash drives quest and the one after that, Golden Swag, before you finally get Skier 2 and then get the flash drives, which I thought was really unfair. Which is why it's EOD. Like it is what it is. It's an advantage. That's fine. It's okay. You get a bigger stash. You get bigger case. Da, 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 da. I just feel that we shouldn't be making these advantages like even bigger, and to open up like an entire another trader's quest line for free.
Yeah.
Without having to do anything. Like you literally just like get to level 15 and you get to play Peacekeeper from then. I just thought it was a bit much. But I've been messaged by a couple of people. So someone sent me a DM and they said, I saw your recent video. I got it before level 2 though. You might be interested. And he sent me a screenshot and he's level 14 and he has Friend from the West Part 1 already and he hasn't done what's on the flash drive. So he was like, I got it after level 14, but I do have Peacekeeper at level 2 if that makes a difference. I was like, huh, interesting. And then someone like earlier in the chat today as well was saying like, apparently someone's posted it through onto the wiki and there might have been a stealth change. I'm hoping. I mean, if they did change that, it probably was me, right? Because I was the only person who talked about that and made a video about it. Like, I don't think anybody else was talking about it. So like it has to be. If they put a change in today, like normally you never really know. And normally I don't want to like, give myself overly inflated sense of self or whatever. But like no one else talked about it. I did, and it was a video that did like the best on my channel that has ever done ever in this time period.
Oh, really?
So,
that's cool.
Yeah, and so like
I mean, it's one of those titles like. Yeah, it's like you put cheater in your title and it gets so many clicks. Yeah.
Exactly. Because everyone was intrigued because it was just like, what is the EOD buff? Because I'm like, it's a stealthy EOD buff basically. But no one else seemingly was talking about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. So, but some people were saying that now you don't need to do it. Like the wiki guys are talking about it. That's what someone pointed me to. Someone else had said like, I have Friend from the West Part 1, but I haven't completed what's on the flash drive. Nor do I mention Skier. Nor do I have Skier 2. I don't know what triggered this quest. This guy's level 19. And he's still level 1 because he hasn't got the spending rep. He didn't bother getting Skier up with the spending rep. So maybe it's just like level 14 or something. So I mean, if PSG changed it, then like great. But like that might not be the case anymore. That there's an asymmetry. Maybe that was I think it was unintentional.
Yeah,
just because of the way that they like delinearized the quest lines and didn't realize that there was going to be this like huge gap. Because I mean, in my opinion, there's loads of people in my comments on the YouTube video being like, I paid $150. I should get an advantage. And I was just like, yeah, fine. But like, this is way too far, Like getting to Jaeger 3 early, like no one cares about Jaeger. Like, Jaeger's not really got anything, right? Who really cares? But to get access to Peacekeeper for free at level 15, whereas everyone else is going through the flash drives, is too much.
Them changing it is literally not going to affect you. It's just helping out the guy beneath you. So like, why do you care? That it's not like you're losing an advantage.
Yeah, I want them kept behind flash drives. It's the miserly people who pay to for EOD and just like for the purposes of getting an advantage over others. Like that's not the reason why I bought EOD. I bought EOD because it's like quality of life for me for when I play because I didn't want to grind for Epsilon for the 3rd wipe in a row. That's the reason why I got EOD. Like people who buy EOD out of spite for other players, like that's one hell of a way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The BSG tried to do a good thing, and they did, but unknowingly they,
Yeah. I mean, there'll be these things, right, that they don't foresee. Like it's one of the, it's another one of those. The game's very convoluted. The path to various progressions is convoluted. So until you do the thing, and then somebody goes, "Hang on," sometimes it's hard to know. So great if they've changed it, which it looks like they have. Fantastic.
All right. Yeah. Should we move on to drama alert?
Yes, I think so. I think we should. I think we should cover it at least. I think we should cover it. I don't know how closely you were following everything that was going on.
I mean, I'll just say this. This is nothing personal against Nice Guy. I just got tired of seeing stuff on my timeline, my social media. Like I put YouTube into that category that I didn't really care about. So before everything kind of blew up, I just like unfollowed. I kind of just like purged Nice Guy. Again, nothing personal. I just like it's taking up real estate on my devices or whatever. Like that's one thing I don't like about shorts when they get pushed to subs is like I went to subs to watch a video, not a short necessarily, even though sometimes I watch them. But like it's just kind of annoying having that. Like that could be a full length video featured there. It's like I scrolled through, maybe I missed the video. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of it for me. I kind of like I kind of got out while the getting out was good. I'm kind of glad I did what I did.
Yeah, I got kind of interested because of I think it's when it started getting really heated was when I started getting interested. So I mean, the long and the short of it, basically, Nice Guy / Nolan wanted to get information from people who had progressed the most.
Yeah,
Makes total sense for somebody who's tracking the progression of Lightkeeper and how to get to him. I think most of this stuff was through Trey, because Trey and Toothy are doing
right.
a BSG approved account sharing sort of experiment, like challenge, whatever.
Yeah.
They asked they said, "Can we do this?" And they said yes. And it's sort of a Kappa speed run with two of the best players in the game, and they just take it in shifts, and the account's literally up like 24 hours a day. Like it's cool. I think it's kind of fun. Like it doesn't hurt anybody. Like who cares, right? It's just fun. I think a lot of the information was coming from him. Then it turned out that there was this guy Kev who seemingly got Kappa, but it was before Trey and Toothy's combo account, which people were like, huh, to begin with. And like he didn't stream, and like from everything that Nolan had seen up until that point, everything looked completely legit. And I think Axel was helping him as well. I think like Axel was involved in some way too. And like nobody thought that there was any problems. But some stats got posted from him. I don't know whether somebody asked or whether like someone showed him, because I think he did like one stream or something, but like he only had something basic, so he didn't have a mic or whatever. Like I don't know. But anyway, some stats came out from this dude's account, and people were looking through it, and a lot of people were like, well, this guy is like, he's either cheating, obviously, or is 3 times better than everybody else. Because like he's solo ground further than two of the best people playing who are playing on the same account at the same time, literally 24 hours a day without any break. And like who knows, right? There isn't been a determination either which way. Like I don't think he's been banned or anything, but it looks suspicious, right? Like the one piece of information that is particularly suspect, and maybe it's a bug, right? This is the thing. Who knows? Maybe it's a freaking bug. But the one thing that people picked up on in particular was the healing XP. So the dude's got healing XP of somebody who's like level 20, but he's level 55, right? And the only way, or higher than that, like for 57 or 58, whatever, and got Kappa. And the only way that you could do that is by being super cautious. But that's not how you speed run to Kappa. Do you know what I mean? Like all the other guys who are like on that pathway have got like multiple times worth of healing XP because they've been shot a bunch and had to heal it. Like when I looked at the stats, he's got the same healing XP as me. And so that was like the main red flag that people were like, this doesn't make any sense. Plus, obviously, there's just the speed of it. Like, yeah, maybe it could have happened, whatever. But anyway, that was the story. Like, I don't really have an opinion on either which way. Who knows? Maybe it's legit and it's some kind of freak thing. Maybe it's not. Whatever. I don't think it ultimately really matters. But like, the crux of it was that basically Nice Guy took like somehow managed to end up taking a load of flack for this because he was kind of, because he said originally he said like there's no way the guy's cheating. Like we've been with him loads. There's no signs of him cheating or whatever. I mean, he just made a genuine statement based on what his feelings were. But I mean, maybe he was too firm about it. I don't know. But anyway, the backlash on Nolan was insane. Actually, got like crazy. Like because he doesn't stream that much, but when he does like sort of news topics or whatever and that kind of thing, and talks through like things about the future of the game and stuff. And yeah, it was just like he just got like so much hate, and it was bad. And it ultimately ended up with him basically quitting content creation, which is kind of nuts. He was like, if the guy turns out to be a cheater, I'm just going to completely quit. And then after saying that, he was like, actually, now that I've said it, he was like, even if the guy's legit, I may just leave anyway. Because like this is so stressful and not worth it. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to do this anyway, and it's now no longer fun because the community's been so toxic and so horrible like I actually it's just taken all the fun out of this, and it's just not nice. And he was like, I think he's kind of
Really?
struggled in some ways of being a successful account, like a big account, because when he gets stuff wrong, like it feels, makes him feel really bad or whatever. Like it's, it's not easy content creation. There's a lot of like you make one mistake,
Yeah.
you get 20,000 people telling you. It's not easy. You have to. People are very critical, obviously. So the long and the short of it, people thought he was going to leave, and he took a week's break, and like he put this in his Discord, but he took a week's break, and like actually, where he said like I'm going to apply for some jobs and stuff, and in his Discord message, he was like, yeah, some of these interviews were just like, so why did you stop YouTube? It's just like I just couldn't like deal with it. So too stressful. And people were like, dude, you're crazy. It's like so successful. Like, why are you leaving? Why are you coming to like try and work another job or whatever? And after a week off, he was basically like, okay, I do love doing this. I'm just gonna like refocus, get back into it and do it again. So like he did made an announcement, I think it was today, saying like after the week off, feel a lot better about things, gonna get back into it, make sure that any speculation is really obvious up front. I think basically he's learned the lessons that is going to help him deal with it mentally and get back in the game and continue, which is good, super good. Guy was really scared he was going to like just quit and not come back. It was a distinct possibility at one point, but yeah, the community has an impact. It does for sure. Now, who knows about this Kev thing? Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Like that's kind of it was the catalyst that drove all of this like insane drama. It's like a completely insane drama. Like it was properly feasible at one point that he was just going to leave and never come back as like the main guy doing photography stuff is mental.
Was because when I did the Great Night Sky Purge, I mean, this was during the Lightkeeper stuff because I kind of got tired of seeing like very minor, like not exciting, like, oh, Night Sky video's out. What's it about? I'm like, I'm excited, this new Lightkeeper stuff. And it's like just this minor, very minor new stuff, things that like really weren't. And it was kind of getting annoying. And then like, I think one time he posted one where it was like, how did I miss this? He like made a mistake or something. I didn't even watch the video because I was just like, oh my God, I'm getting so sick and tired of this because I'm like constantly being let down. I feel like I just kind of got rid of everything. And then that's when the Kev drama started. So, and honestly, it was kind of everywhere. I couldn't like help but see it when I checked Twitter. But were people really that, like, was he getting like death threats? Like, how dare you support a cheater? You're covering for him. Like, was it that extreme? Was it really that bad?
Mean, I don't think it's. I don't think he's getting death threats, or whatever. But you know what I mean? It's like I think there were a lot of people. A lot of people.
Was he getting criticism or was he getting hate? Like that's what I'm mostly
like actual hate. I think, yeah.
Okay, so people were like, "You suck. You're the worst."
Because it was like the biggest drama thing happening at the time. So like the whole toxic side of the community basically just turned on him immediately, which was insane.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess he's pretty vulnerable for he made a mistake or possibly made a mistake. I guess. I don't know.
The cheating thing is such a raw point. That's the thing. What do you mean? Like, well, the cheating topic is such a raw point in the community.
Yeah.
People construing what had happened as him like defending a cheater or whatever to like maybe further his channel or whatever. Even though like I really don't think that was the intention.
Yeah, no. But I mean, it could be, if you're not careful, you could easily be in someone like Nice Guy's position, because he's usually the first to everything, pretty well much. With the exception of maybe like data mine stuff. I don't know. Maybe he is. Anyways, he has a lot of exclusivity as well. So like he's kind of like the news guy. So you could see how he might even be unknowingly susceptible to something like that as well.
Yeah, and I think it's also. I mean, it's tough. I can understand why it's ended up becoming kind of crazy, right? Because he's like the person that if he's not first to it, he almost. I don't know. There's almost that thing of if you're the guy that everyone goes to for all the stuff. Like if a piece of news comes out, he probably gets DM'd by like 50 people simultaneously. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Blah, 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 gonna make a video. And he said in his thing, he was like, especially during the wipe, he was like waking up like every hour after 3 a.m. to make sure there weren't any updates. And like it's freaking mental, right? Like the guy had to reset and redo stuff. Like you can. Yeah. This is the thing about content creation and YouTube and whatever, right? All of this stuff. You can, in theory, be live. Not live in a sort of strict technical sense, like on Twitch or whatever, but like
you can exist on the internet 24.
You can exist on the internet all the time if you want to. You could always be critical, and you could always be first, and you always can be there. But you have to like be at home, change the computer the whole time, always watching, only doing that and nothing else, right? It's like even if it's the thing you love, that ain't healthy, and it's eventually going to break you. You just can't live like that. You just can't.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's realized this, but in a way that hasn't broken him, and that he can come back and be more measured about it. Because I think lots of people have had that in various forms of their life, get to the point like that, say, this is crazy. The machine breaks, and then they stop and say, right, what? I don't care anymore. Walk away, and then be like, right, come back with a more measured approach, fix things. It's a life lesson. It's a life lesson.
Yeah. I hope he's doing well now. I hope it's like, he can take this either as like a learning experience or as, something to sort of like reset, and put some more perspective on his future in life and career or whatever the case may be. Because I know he said he's wanted to do this for like other games as well. So it's good,
Yeah. Some people in chat saying he's quite young, just out of school as well. So like, maybe
is he
he's
really?
like, I don't know. Apparently, I don't know.
Like
I'm not
high
sure.
school?
People are saying, I'm not. I don't know. I really don't know.
Interesting.
I really don't know. So I mean, that
probably college,
doesn't help. But
yeah. And he's also like, I don't mean this in like in a diss, but he's kind of openly said like he's like has anxiety about this idea of like being the guy, having his face on stream, kind of like this like anxiety with this whole internet personality type of stuff. But he is kind of like in that, like unwillingly a part of that, and we're all like different, on the inside. I mean, that's like a good thing. I think it should be celebrated. But so like he is kind of like a unique guy, and if you're like kind of looking at it like, oh, why is he acting like this? Like, it's just the internet, bro. Turn off your screen or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like we're all different. Like, we handle things differently. Try to have some empathy, compassion, whatever.
Exactly. I think he almost ended up like accidentally having such a big channel. Do you know what I mean? He's just like super passionate about Tarkov.
Yeah.
And then
totally, I can see
and
that.
And then this happened, and his channel's huge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he's like one of those guys who is definitely like passion before business.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Which is fine. But then sometimes, I mean, he's said it in enough posts that sometimes he doesn't really know what to do about it, because it's kind of become bigger than he ever expected. But anyway, it's only a good thing, and I think it's a learning lesson.
Imagine being in that,
for him personally,
being in that shoes. Like, you didn't mean, it was just kind of for fun, and then like you blow up, and then now you may have like this anxiety about the size of your channel. You get all this like feel like you get this responsibility, everyone's like holding you accountable and stuff, but it's like it's a business now too. It's successful, it's like making you money. So it's like, maybe you don't, it's like you need a break, but like you don't want a break, because it's like, dude, what I mean? It's like, I got to report on this stuff. It's like, I'm going to make the most money if I do this, it's just like, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tricky. It's not easy. It's not that straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, anything else, Giga? Any closing stuff, tidbits, comments from Twitch chatters?
Closing tidbits. I felt like there was some other random stuff, but I can't really remember what it was now. We did this. We did about audio. Talked about Scavs. Talked about Scavs.
Oh,
there was. What were you going to say?
Have Violent Cats been nerfed? Because they were really good. Like, maybe I was just unlucky, but they were like really good early on when the wipe happened. I was getting like 306 key for Shoreline, like just like crazy, like RB keys, like insane keys. And then recently I've gotten like nothing out of them, like no keys. So I was just curious if there was like a change I missed and they got nerfed, because I saw they just recently changed keys a little bit. Like, they changed the background and some of the pricing that you sell to traders for a couple of them. But I didn't know if maybe there was like a stealth change, like that was an unintentional thing.
For, like, the key spawns went up by a lot, I think, at one point. But I didn't play like that many filing cabinet raids myself, because I've been playing lots of like Shoreline and like Woods and stuff. So I didn't really see it myself for the keys thing. But so I'm not 100% sure. But I did see that. I mean, did you think it's been reverted? I don't know. Well,
that's what I was wondering. Because I was really surprised by the filing cabinet change. Like, I like it. Makes finding keys way. It's another source for keys. I love that. Keys were really annoying to get quest lock behind keys and then have them barter only, which they kind of addressed this wipe as well.
Yeah.
So, but I wonder if it was like an accidental thing they did. I was like, oh crap, we didn't mean to put all the keys in the loot pool. It was just supposed to be these keys, you know. But I don't know. I was just curious on your experience if you've had my experience.
I'm not sure, but no, I haven't really been looting keys. So it's hard to say. I've just seen lots of screenshots of people being like, a bag full of keys leaving the raid, just like, what is happening? But I don't know. I don't know. There's some interesting stuff with some of the ones on the streets. And one pig put out a video about one of the apartments, which was like, it's like full of loot or whatever. It was like a 40k key because no one knew what it did. And then he was like, hey, look, there's like a million things in here. And it's just like all gone, barter only, like straight away within like 20 minutes. Like insane. Which is pretty funny. But no, I don't know. I just buy my keys off the Flea when the quest comes around. That's about it. I never normally loot keys. I just do other stuff and then.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just always the way that I've ended up playing. It's just kind of annoying. The one thing that I was going to finish off with saying is that I got to level 10 weapons maintenance.
Oh, goody, goody, goody. Let's hear it. The details.
So far, it does literally nothing.
Long pause. Uh-oh.
So what I did, if anybody wanted to replicate the method, I probably spent 1 million rubles doing it. Well, this is the way I did it. You go on the fleet, you click all weapons, just click the weapons like, a total heading. Go into the filters, change the max durability to 50. Click OK. And then you get a list of everything that's got 50 durability. And then you just have to look through for the ones that have got like 90 something durability. Because I think some still have like 50 something max durability, but some of them have 90 odd. And then you basically just like try to pick the ones that are going to like hemorrhage the least money. So, a Vepr Hunter at 14k, that will probably be okay because you can repair it to sell it to mechanic, so that's all right. Anything with a scope or flashlight is probably also good. So any shotguns people have just thrown up, buy those and repair them. Broadly speaking, so far it seems you get between 3 and 4 XP points per repair because they've changed it. So it used to be fixed no matter how much you repaired.
Yeah.
It just gave you a fixed amount of points no matter what. Now it scales with the amount of durability that you fix. So buying a 50 and repairing it to 90 is really good. Sometimes you can even get them down to like 33% like durability and repair them up to like 90 durability. And you get about 4 points for that. So that seems to be the case for that. I haven't tested it about armor, so I'm not sure. But armor's a lot harder and a lot more expensive to do. You could do the same thing, but it's a lot harder. Because they just don't sell back for the same amount of money.
It seems like armor works the same way. You get points based off how many points you repaired as well.
I would guess so. I can't believe they did it for weapons and not armor. You never know. You never know with Tarkov, like I can't imagine that they did that. So I did that for a while. So you get, as I said, like nearly 4 points for doing each one and then sell them back. And I probably spent, each repair kit was about 100,000. And I went through about 3 or 4 of those. It's not actually that much. Like, to repair a weapon, it only costs about 2k. I don't like it if there are 100,000 rubles, not that bad. And then I probably spent another 600,000 just on the bid offer, but buying stuff off the fleet because I wanted to get it done, and so I started being more aggressive about it. So I was like buying pistols at like 12k and selling them back at 6 and that kind of thing. Like it adds up over time, especially. Like don't buy double barrel shotguns. They sell for an absolute pittance, and people put them up at like even at like 10,000, you're probably going to lose 75% of the money there or whatever. Ouch. It's like they sell for nothing because they're so cheap on the trader already, right? And that's the retail price from the trader. So the resale value is just like literally rock bottom. Anyway, I did it. Got to level 10. Once you get to level 10, when you go to repair, there's a green bar and it says, and then you may apply an enhancement by doing this repair. I've repaired quite a few things at this point. I don't know what the enhancement looks like. It says very low chance at level 10, and the chance goes up as you go up levels. So I don't know what the chance of seeing a repair, an enhancement at level 10 is, but it's not high. I can tell you that. I don't know what happens when you get one, whether it tells you, whether it's just hidden in the stats. Because the 2 things that you can get for weapons is decreased durability burn and increased accuracy. Now, I don't know where decreased durability burn even appears. I don't know if it gives you a pop-up. I don't know, like whether you repair and then it's just in the gun. Like you don't even know, right? Like I may have got one, but not even been able to tell because the MOA changed from 2.4 to whatever. And And I probably wouldn't even know because I'm repairing it. So the MO is changing anyway. So I don't know if there's an accuracy buff in there because I'd have to compare it. And it's like 93%. So I can't even compare it to a 100% one and see if there's a difference. I don't really know.
Okay.
So far, I've not seen anything at all in terms of enhancements, not seen anything at all in terms of pop-ups. And I don't know how high the chance is, but I was a bit.
Do you think
Well,
it's like less than
put out.
5%?
Yes.
Do you think it's like
Let's see
1%
maybe.
or less than 1%?
I think if it was 5%, I would have seen one if it's visible. So there's kind of three scenarios. It's either
see.
like if it's visible and it's 5%, I probably should have seen one by now. Could have got unlucky. If it's invisible, I might have had one and not realized. And if it's less than 1%, I may not have seen one at all. It's kind of the crux of it. Because like I'm literally at the very first level. I didn't grind it anymore, right? Because like I need money for other stuff. Like I wanted to test this one out and see if I got, one every fifth repair or something. You definitely don't. So I was like, I ain't spending any more rubles than this on that because I've still got all my other stuff to do, right? So we'll just test this and see. But level 10, I wouldn't rush it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rush it.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm working on heavy armor and I've just got level 2 now, I think. So it's gonna take me some time to get to 10, but that's kind of that's the short-term goal is to get to 10 and see what that does. But if it's like it might be the same where it's like less than 1% or it's hidden and y'all never see those buffs. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I mean that said, it is still worth buying repair kits at 100,000. It is still worth taking scav guns out of the raid that are 50 out of 90, and it is still worth repairing them up because then you can sell them on the flea market and they're like nearly full durability. It only costs you 2,000 to 3,000 to do the repair. Worst case, you can sell it to mechanic for a lot more than you'd be able to sell it to defense. So I think there's still a point of doing the repair kits, especially with the armor. The armor ones are still relatively cheap, and so it basically makes sense to repair everything with the armor repair kit, even crappy class 2s, because they're not that much yet, and so they're basically a no-brainer. And they repair between skier and mechanics, so it's like better than prep or anyway. Like unless you really care about the trader money spent, which counts towards prep or skier or mechanic, but everyone sells stuff to mechanics, so it's fine. But like if you care about the money spent, you can repair with skier in theory. But I've just been using the repair kits. Do something else with skier. There's normally a better way of doing it than spending money on repairs. I'd rather use the repair kit. So they're still worth doing. So we'll all slowly work our way towards it and get there eventually. But yeah, I don't know. I was a bit sad that it doesn't tell you the percentage. It doesn't seem very high, and also the buff's not really that interesting. So yeah.
Which, speaking of leveling up traders, we launched a video about leveling traders. I didn't edit it. It was one of the other editors, so I haven't even seen it. I don't even know what's in it, so I'm going to watch it myself because I usually buy.
Is that out?
Yeah, I think it just launched earlier today.
Oh,
we did
cool.
We did 2 videos today. Yeah, because I usually try to find an item and buy it off the trader and then sell it back to the trader. But sometimes it's like finicky. Like Jaeger and Skier, I never really know exactly what they'll take. So sometimes
I actually won't buy it back.
Yeah, I'm just like darn it. Yeah. But anyways, it's usually what I do. But
I usually end up doing rigs with Skier. Even though he doesn't pay that much for them. That's usually what I end up doing. But Jaeger, I got a classic trick for Jaeger. Jaeger, you can sell him condensed milk. So I get to nutrition 2. And then I just craft condensed milk over and over again. And you just 45k, 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 45. Just keep selling it because it makes money. It's a little bit less than therapist, but it makes money. And then eventually you get there.
That's a good way.
Same thing with the cheeses. I turn meds into cheese early wipe because they're like 6k. Or even less actually. At the beginning of the wipe, they're like 3k. And you turn them into 3 cheeses, which sells for Jaeger for 9k. So you make like 6,000 each time. And you're crafting. So
I just prefer the brain dead easy way. It's like easy.
Well, yeah, just fill your stash with tozzes and then sell it all straight back.
Because it's like I met every requirement. I just need to, spend money. Yeah. It's a cool idea they got, but like we basically only use like 30% of the stuff the traders have. All right, one final quick thing. There's an M4 handguard on Jaeger 3 that looks pretty cool. I was a bit surprised that it was on Jaeger. Because I'm like, why does he have an M4 handguard? I mean, I'm glad he has something useful because like he only had like 1 or 2 items on Jaeger 3 that was useful. Like they really need to move all these like shotgun slugs for like the Taz and the shotguns like down the lower traders in my opinion. But anyways, that aside, It's like I think it's like two gives you 2 extra recoil reduction and like 14 ergo. And it's an M4 handguard, which I was like, that's pretty
Is that
good.
weird tan one?
Yeah, it's a weird looking tan one. It's like oddly shaped like a rounded triangle, like with
You
rounded
add
corners.
a foregrip? Because I know there's like the
Yeah, it
wing and
comes
the
off a
skull one, which is like
you can buy the rails from that
okay.
Jaeger 3 to then put flashlights, grips, etc.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be something for a peacekeeping mission, like a high ergo if you want to like, do some single taps with your scope. But kind of interesting. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I've seen it and sort of gone, oh, it looks kind of expensive. Oh, it looks kind of not sure.
Yeah, it's a weird one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to see if it can make its way into any builds.
All right. I think we will wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know down below in the comments or send us a message, anchor.fm/ScavTalk. I think that's right. Send us a message. Tell me if filing cabinets are nerfed or are they still goated. Let me know. And with that, catch you all next week.